Hi, fellow cardiac warriors, let me call you that. What we call ourselves is actually so important. I hate it to call myself a cardiac patient because patient sounds so much like a victim. But let's call ourselves warriors, survivors, but actually more than survivors. We are thrivers. We want to thrive in this. We want not to be victims, but be victorious. I don't know, it sounds like, being a bit arrogant, but that's the truth. What you call yourself, what you identify with will determine to a large extent how you will experience the situation that you are in. Going through a cardiac procedure is something that's quite invasive. And as I've been talking to my fellow cardiac warriors, I've heard how we all experience it. Some of us go through huge processes of anxiety and stress. Others have fears that actually really can make life difficult. Some of us become even depressed. Some of us have wonderful moments of being really elated and so happy and so grateful just to go through a process of being really very discouraged. So I just want to tell you, going through these emotions are very, very normal. So it's normal for us to experience all kinds of emotions that we're not used to, and it can be quite scary at times. How do I manage all these emotions? So the good news is that in this process, you will get some tools that can help you. You will be able to make a choice whether you're going to use them or not. So not all the tools are necessarily useful to you, but you will make a choice. And some of those tools really have the possibility that it could change your life radically. This cardiac procedure has the possibility to be a game changer, a life changer, giving you an opportunity to rethink and reset your life. So I've called you already a cardiac warrior. I can call you a cardiac overcomer, and you will see why as we proceed. I want you to look at this picture. You can see that we have a choice where we go with this thing. You always had a life that was quite normal, and you probably had been in a comfort zone where things were good and you felt healthy and strong, and then suddenly this thing happened. And maybe you experienced the not the fear zone necessarily, but the emotional zone, where suddenly you heard that you have to go through this cardiac process. You've done it, and after that you had your emotions. Some of them were really very paralyzing and very challenging, and you had to cope with that. I remember when I woke up there in ICU, I was so weak. I couldn't even shave myself. When they wanted to wash me, they had to help me to turn on my side so that they can wash the backside of my body. It's actually quite embarrassing on the one side, but something that you quickly make peace of. This is how it is. But when we get stuck in the fear zone or in the emotional zone, we actually might be there for quite a long time. Or we can choose to move on. And then from the fear zone, you can choose to move on to the learning zone. Let me just learn how to cope with this reality that I am in currently. And let me make the most of this. Because if you can go through the learning zone, you can move towards the growth zone. And the growth zone actually brings you to the point where you can ask yourself, what is there for me in store? What can I embrace in this situation? Where can I go with this? What are my options in this process? So I'm putting up this slide just for you to think about this. That this procedure that you went through can really become a growth experience where you embrace all the presence that this situation is bringing. Because when life throws us a curveball like this, it also comes with some gifts, some presents, and we can either unwrap those presents and embrace it and make it part of our lives, or we can leave the gift just there, unwrapped or still wrapped. And so I want to encourage you, unwrap the gifts, because there are some real gifts that you can make use of. I think often we ask ourselves, what can be the benefit of something like this? Why do I have to do a course to help me to cope emotionally with a cardiac procedure? And I think there are lots of reasons. One that I think is very important is that it will make you an easier patient, not only for yourself, but for others. It will be easier for others to treat you well if you have some tools how to manage your emotions. Another benefit is that instead of being managed by your emotions, you will start using tools that will allow you to manage your emotions. So emotions either manage you or you manage the emotions. And then a third thing is that it will help you to deal with the physical side of your challenge right now much better. When we are emotional and we struggle emotionally, it's so difficult for us to really attend to our physical challenges, and we make it also difficult for others to be with us. I can make a long list of all the many benefits, but in essence, we are emotional beings. If we are emotionally not well, it affects our physical body. And if we are emotionally not well and our physical body is under stress, we recover much slower. So I want to encourage you, make a choice to go through this process also in an emotional, healthy, and an effective way. If you can look at this picture here, often we have a stimulus and then there's a response. And often the way that we react to things are not thought through. It just happens. There's a stimulus and there's a response. And it's without making the real choice, what will be the better way to respond. And the purpose of this process is to help you to really make a better choice how you can react. Because between the stimulus and the response, there is actually a gap. There's a point of silence, a pause, where you can make the best possible decisions and choices, how you will actually react to the situation. So we can draw from our value system, we can draw from our imagination, seeing ourselves making better choices and what the consequences will be, where they will be. We can draw from our will, our strong will that I want a better life. But the fact is that you have to make the choice. How do you want to go through this process? And if we make that choice intentionally, it's so much easier for us when the challenges come to go back to our decisions that we've made. If we don't make those decisions, the emotions will come and it will dominate us and it will make life difficult for us. I once heard this prayer. I was in a training session and the facilitator started telling us about the choices that we have in life. And then suddenly on the screen, he showed us this prayer. The prayer is, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I just love that, because there's three sides to this. There's the first part is the courage to go out and to change the things that you can change, to control the controllables, in other words, but then also the acceptance of those things that you cannot change. And then the wisdom to know the difference between the two. And friends, I think this is a very good starting point. If we can just get to that point where we accept that this thing has happened to me, and I am in a recovery process, and I cannot change this around. I can moan, I can groan, I can point fingers, I can blame myself, I can feel guilty, and all those things. Or I can say, listen, this is what it is. I make peace of it. I am here now. And now I have a choice how I move forward. Actually, I have several choices how I move forward. But let me first make peace with this. And I want to encourage you. Look this thing in the eye and make peace with it. You had a cardiac procedure. You're not where you used to be. And you are going through a process where you have some choices to help yourself go through this much easier. And then you can say, okay, but what are those things that I can control? There are a lot of uncontrollables. I drink pills and I don't know what the pills will do to my body. There are things happening all around me that I have nothing like I cannot do anything about, but I can do some things. I can take the pills that I should take on a regular basis. I can do the exercises that I was given. I can go through physio. I can decide to be positive. I can decide to allow others to help me. There are some things that you can decide that this is what I can do, and then you can go and make peace with those things that are not in your control, and you can be wise to discern between the two. Every now and then you will come to a point where there are some things that you really don't like, and you have to ask yourself, can I do something about this? If not, I'm making peace with this and I'm moving on. I'm going to do something about those things that I can do something about. So if I can just take you to the last part of this prayer. It says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then in that prayer, it adds, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. Living one day at a time. Being in the moment. I think a huge part of joy comes from that. If we can just be in the moment and be grateful and enjoy all the beautiful things that we do have, and that the many things that are right, and things that are still left and are still great in our lives, and we actually reaching towards other things, but we are right now in a situation where there are so many things that you can be grateful for, and that you can embrace and can enjoy, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. I remember we always used in our Latin class the carpe diem saying, seize the day. And then somebody said, yes, but you could add something to it. Seize the day and enjoy the flowers on the way while you may. Seize the day and enjoy the flowers on the way while you may. See the beauty of life and allow that to go through your heart and enjoy those things. It is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Gratefulness is a choice. We can either moan and groan, or we can decide to be happy in the midst of challenge and to be grateful for so many things that are actually right in our lives. So I want to just give a little bit of a step further, just about this whole thing of where are we? Are we going to be victims, or are we going to be victorious? And I came across this accountability ladder many years ago, and I've used it so many times in my executive coaching and in my business coaching that I've given to others. And it just makes a lot of sense to help us to see, okay, here are my choices. And when you are stuck, just to ask yourself, where am I in this ladder? So if you look at this picture, you'll see right at the bottom, there's the bottom part, the bottom step. It says unaware or unconscious. It can be that you are total in denial. The second step is to blame others. Then personal excuses, to make excuses. Then you say, I can't. And then you go and wait and hope for better days, that things will happen to you and somebody will be the savior and be the hero in your life and so on. But as long as you are there, you are in the victim mode. It's victim behaviors and things just happen to you. Life is happening to you. But when you can actually go just above that baseline, you will see it says acknowledge reality. That's where we say, let me just face it for what it is. This is where I am. This is my condition right now. Then you move to embrace it. Then you can find solutions. And then you can go to the top part of this ladder. And it says there, make it happen. So how does this relate to our cardiac procedure and our cardiac emotional recovery? I think it's quite simple. If you look at this, you'll see I've written down some possible ways how we can see this. So at the bottom, we can say, no, man, I don't have any emotions. I'm okay. That's actually when you are in denial. You are denying the emotions, and people that are dealing with you can probably see your emotions, but you are denying them. And it will probably come across as anger or frustration or a bit of discouragement or whatever. People can see your emotions. And often we can be so blind to our emotions, so out of touch. But if we can go to the first step after that, we can say, If people can just stop making such a fuss, so that's when we actually blame others, and we think others are actually causing my emotions, and if they can stop that, then I will be better. If they can treat me better, then I can be better. Often we blame the nursing staff, or we blame our family, or we blame the pills that we're taking. We blame things for how we feel emotionally. After that, we can go through a moment where we say, listen, I cannot help it. The emotions just come, poor me, I'm this victim. They just happen to me, and I didn't choose these emotions. I feel this way because they are there, and a part of that is true. Because emotions just come, and especially when you're going through a thing like this, like we can never say I can do nothing about it. There's always something that you can do about your emotional state of mind, and some of the later modules we will deal with that. But then fourthly, we can also say, you know what, it will pass, and I will just wait it out, and you do nothing about your emotions. You stay in that state, in that fearful state, or state of discouragement, or of low energy, or of negativity, or whatever. You just allow yourself to be there, but there's no intent to do anything about it. So when we are there, again, we are in victim mode. We are disempowering ourselves. We are allowing ourselves to go through more suffering than that is really necessary. And we allow ourselves to be in a low state of energy and of happiness, in order to go to a higher state of happiness, of self-empowerment, of being more victorious, if you want to say that, to be more of an overcomer. You can go to the first part of that top 4 steps of the ladder. When we acknowledge reality, we say, wow, I have some really troublesome emotions. I acknowledge this, and I don't like having these emotions, and I don't like the way that I deal with these emotions right now. I acknowledge it. So that's where you become really aware of what's going on in your life. The first step to any change in our lives is to become aware of what is going on with you, because then you can move on to the next step, and that's where we actually embrace it. We own it. We say it is what it is. This is my emotions. This is my experience, and I take full responsibility for my emotions. And then you go to the third step, and you say, okay, let me deal with this. Let me look at my options. What options do I have? How can I deal with this thing in a better manner? And you look at different ways how you can actually go through your process that you are in right now. And then the fourth and the supreme step is that you empower yourself and tell yourself, I can handle this. I will handle this. And you take action, and you deal with the emotions. You deal with the situation that you are in. You face it, and you deal with it in the best possible way that you can, because then you become empowered. You become victorious. The threat isn't this big threat anymore. It becomes something that you can use to help you to grow and to reset your life, and to embrace all the opportunities that you have right now to take yourself to a much better place than you've been. I think there's one more important thing that I want to deal with, and it's just another way of saying what I've already said, but maybe this can hit home with you, and it can really help you. Stephen Covey many years ago wrote about this circle of influence and the circle of concern. He said, there are so many things that we are concerned about, and that can really paralyze you, because you keep on trying to do something about all those things. You can worry so much about, when will I be better? When will I have all my strength back? When will I be able to do my normal activities? What will happen with my career moving forward? And you can worry about your family and so many other things. And a lot of those things you can do nothing about. Yeah, there are little small things that you can do about, that you can do something about. But a lot of things you can do nothing about. You can do very little right now about the politics of the world, I suppose. And so a lot of things are outside your control, but some things are inside your control. It's in your circle of influence. And the wonderful thing starts happening when we focus on our circle of influence. We start to grow this circle, and you start growing into the circle of concern, and you start taking more and more control over your life. If you can just look at this next slide, you will see on the left side you have the more proactive focus, but on the right side the more reactive focus. So when we are reactive, our environment, our the outside uncontrollable things in our lives determine how you feel, and the more and more you focus on those things, the more and more your circle of influence will decrease. It will shrink. But if you look to the left side, you will see there we focus on the circle of influence. And as long as you put your focus on the circle of control, the circle of influence, the more and more the circle will expand. It will grow into your circle of concern. And you will see how you take more and more control of your life. So the big thing is, control the controllables and make peace with the uncontrollables. As long as you control the controllables, you will see how you actually start growing, and your influence becomes more, and your life becomes better. I want to end with a model that I've used so often with my clients, and I've also used it with myself. It is the so-called GROW model. And the GROW model is a model that actually helps us to grow in life, but it's also an acronym with 4 very important steps that you can take yourself through. And I really want to encourage you, just watch this video a few times, but also write down this this acronym and take yourself through the process. I will explain it to you. So the G, as you can see, stands for goals. Setting your goal. Where would you like to be in 6 months or in 12 months from here? The R stands for reality. Where are you right now? So as you can see, what I'm doing here is to help you to do a gap analysis. Where do you want to be? What is the ideal outcome of this? And where are you right now? So you probably want to do some of the activities that you used to do, but you also maybe you want to live a better life and a healthier life and a happier life in the future, doing things that you've never done before, and maybe that you've postponed. You want to have that kind of life. But where are you right now? You're still weak, you're still recovering, you're still taking your life back, you're still busy doing your exercises. So you are here, but you want to be there. There's a gap between where you are and where you want to be. The third step is looking at your options. So this is where you say, okay, if I want to get there, but I'm still here, what are my options that will take me there, all the way up to my ideal outcome, to my better life that I want to reach towards? So then now you start writing down all kinds of options, and many of them are probably not really relevant. But as you go on and you write down your options, what kind of life would you really, your options to actually to get you to that kind of life that you really want, the more choices that you have. So in this step, you don't have to commit to any of those options. You just write them down. It's a creative process, and the more options you have, the more you have to choose from. So and then you come to the last step. So you've put out your goal or your future life that you would like to have. You've looked at your present. You've made peace of this. This is where you are now, but you also don't want to stay here. You want to go to a much better life. You've looked at your options that can take you there, but you know that you cannot actually execute all those options. And now you go to the fourth step, the W of GROW. The W of GROW is what now? The way forward. Now you write down all your what nows, your action plan. You tell yourself, this is how I see it. You can even think about your training program and write down your action plan. What is your plan now? How will you go to a physio or to a biokineticist? What is your action plan to help you to get to a better, healthier life, but also in terms of your emotional life? And then maybe especially that, what is your action plan? Your 5 things that you can do that will really help you right now to be happier where you are right now, and to move closer to your ideal where you will have a happy life and a better life and a fulfilling life. Friends, I think that's enough for right now. May you take yourself through this process May you use everything that you've learned. The big thing now is take responsibility for where you are. Start dreaming for where you can be. Make peace with those things that you cannot change, and embrace the future that will that you will materialize as you move forward. So if we start seeing the future, we actually reach towards something. I think maybe I should just add this as a final remark. Often, we try to avoid pain, and because we do that, we focus on pain. What you focus on expands, it grows. And because you focus on what you don't want in your life right now, this thing becomes really bigger and bigger in your life. It later on takes over your brain. Everything that you do actually is connected to what you try to avoid. A far better way to live your life is to look towards what you want. So instead of looking at the pain, look at the gain. Instead of looking at the threat, look at the pleasure that you want, the better thing that you want, and set that out as your goal, and start thinking about how can I reach towards that goal. When I was a week or two after my cardiac procedure, I've told myself within the next 4 weeks I would like to be back on my mountain bike again. And I actually envisioned how I got my bike and how I actually rode my bike, and it started becoming so real to me. I could feel, being on my mountain, how it feels to be on my mountain bike again. And so it didn't happen within 4 weeks. It happened actually 7.5 weeks after my cardiac procedure, and I went to a place that I really envisioned to ride with my son, and what a wonderful pleasure it was. Such a reward for my envisioning. And I hope that you can also have a picture like that. What is it that you see yourself doing within the next 2 months or 3 months? And when you get there, you will celebrate that you actually stuck it out, you were resilient, and you got yourself towards that goal. So set your goals, dream your dreams, embrace this new opportunity you have, accept the fact that you will go through some of your emotions, and try to be as positive as you can. You will get through this. This is a difficult time, but you will get through this, and you will get to the other side. But help yourself to help yourself, if I can say it like that. Let's give ourselves the best possible chance to go through this emotionally well and deal with the challenges as they come. All of the best. Go on.